coming soon to this theater.
There are a lot of people who practice independent satanic rituals. There are just some eccentric housewives trying to imagine the devil under every bed. The potential does exist that some will get involved in dangerous culture.
You're going down, back down to the basement for you, all you demons in the Sentinel, and back on the air for us at the Drive-In Asylum late movie after our stunning feature of the evening, The Sentinel from 1977, a terrifying plunge through the gateway of hell, or something like that.
Some of the cheapest real estate in New York history.
Yeah, can we just talk about this for a minute? I mean, you know, it was a fully furnished apartment. It had this gorgeous view of the city.
Yeah.
And it looked like a pretty quiet little street in Brooklyn Heights. And yet she got it for $400 a month.
Yeah. And there was a cleaners and a supermarket right up the street, every 20 minutes from downtown.
They acted like, you know, that wasn't worth anything. And I don't know. One thing I don't understand, there was a lot I don't understand about this movie. We'll talk more about that, hopefully. But the first thing I want to mention is that was Ava Gardner in on it?
Was she working for the church?
The real estate lady? I mean, was she
working for the Devils?
Yeah. It's really hard to discern that. She had to have been in on something because she first told her $500 a month, and then she changed it to $400.
Yeah,
like
that's the way real estate works. They always drop the price on you.
Yeah. See,
I wondered that too, because then she kind of ends the movie with a little fourth wall break wink to the eye. There's a nun in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that apartment is spacious beyond belief. It's beautiful. The view is great. Yeah. I mean, Bill and I were talking about during the movie, if you had to deal with all the craziness in the hallways and stuff, is it worth getting great rent? I'd argue maybe.
Yeah, I think that would make life much more interesting. I mean, it's better than, if it would have been more recently, she would have had heroin addicts hanging out in her hallway. But, some murderers are dead already. So what could they do?
Yeah. And, does she always just get new people to the city that don't know, Like, a guy came here that killed his last wife and his girlfriend had a drug overdose, but then she became the nun that's upstairs, but $400 a month. Okay.
I think that's a pretty fair trade-off, if you ask me.
I mean, if they knocked $100 off my house and I'd occasionally see a demonic cat. I've had 4 of those already. I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like whatever you
And
need.
the damned inhabitants of that apartment building had done things like kill people, cannibalize them, and be lesbians.
Yeah, that's the worst one. Yeah, it's. And you know what? I mean, if John Carradine with no eyes is going to live in my attic, I mean, I want that. Like, you don't have to knock money off the rent. Like, I'll bet that comes with it. Okay, you know, like I'm totally cool with that. I wanted to show everybody too. I pulled out the. If you haven't checked out this book, Paperbacks from Hell, it's great. It's like the history of like really wild '70s paperbacks. But here is the cover of the Sentinel book that came out, and the sequel, The Guardian, which was not made into a movie. But there's a good chunk in here about some of the differences in the book. It's a little different. And the book's a little more about that there's a Catholic conspiracy to groom her to be the Sentinel and not, the Catholic Church is kind of presented as good guys in this, which is funny. Bill and I talked about it, but there's a TV cut, correct, where they completely take out the words Catholic.
Yeah, they changed the entire beginning of the film, and I mean it was completely reshot with the original cast members as well. And I would presume they did that after the original film wrapped and was out. Back then they did things like that, you know. John Carpenter did it for Halloween.
Yeah.
But Jose Ferrer's character had more lines in it, apparently. I don't really remember much about it, although that had to have been the way I first saw this.
And they referred to the church in it as the Brotherhood of the Sentinels, which is very Prince of Darkness.
Brotherhood of the Protectors.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it sounds like something that Donald Pleasance's character would talk about in that Carpenter movie, though. Does this movie live in the same universe as Prince of Darkness? I say yes.
They were excommunicated, so anything they did was okay, and the church couldn't be held responsible for it.
They're like the A-team of priests.
And of course, there were some sanitized version of some of the scenes, like that cheerful tea party that she attended with Sylvia Miles and Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, I like that. Chris Sarandon gets killed multiple times at the end. Like he gets stabbed in the neck. It's like someone didn't like Chris Sarandon, and he just.
Well, they kill him for real first by beating him with a statue, and then somebody stabs him in the neck, and then Sylvia and Beverly feast on his face. This movie is pretty gory, I have to say. I'm wondering what everybody in the audience thought about the graphic violence in this, because I think it's pretty strong.
The message Bill and I were talking about, though, and this is, I'd also like to know everybody's feeling on this movie, is like it really doesn't seem like a happy ending, even though like she decides like what should be the happy ending to be in the church. Like I think she loses her beauty, she loses her life, she loses the man that she was with. Like she loses everything, and she has to guard the gates of hell for however long it takes. Like it really doesn't seem like. I'm sure like a lot of people are like, boy, I'm glad it ended like that. Am I glad it ended like that? I'm really not sure.
I would have wanted to go party with the lesbians personally. That sounds like a better way to spend eternity. And I don't shame people for their physical deformities. And, we probably could have had a good time.
On the director's commentary for this, Michael Winter said that he was upset that none of the union people would eat next to the deformed people. And he thought that, he's like, that was really wrong. And I was going to go out and eat with them, but it was too hot that day. So I ate my trash.
It's the thought that counts, right?
Yeah. He had like a beautiful trailer. And meanwhile, they're all out there sweating it up. Congrats.
The things we do for art.
I mean, how many movies did John Carradine miss out on? He could have filmed like 40 movies while they filmed this one.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in this movie ever wanted to work with Michael Winter again. And Chris Sarandon was definitely one of them. And Christina Rains said she wouldn't even watch it because of some of the experiences of making the movie were so traumatic for her that she just could not even relive it by watching the movie, which always strikes me as strange. Like I've talked to several people who's Mariana Hill told me she never saw Messiah of Evil, and she still hasn't. And I thought, well, how could you work on a project for all that time and not want to see the finished result? But I guess that's pretty common.
Yeah, she Christina Rains also retired and became a kidney dialysis doctor many years later. She was just like, yeah, I'm good with acting. She was an actual model too. The other thing that Bill and I talked about was like, well, two things. Like, she doesn't have the money to get this apartment, but when we see her portfolio, she's been on the cover of like every major magazine of that time. So she would be like really supermodels, maybe Carol Alt's the first one, right? Like maybe supermodels just started to exist in this time. And then she's on the cover of People. Like she's well known enough that she had a cover of People when she tried to commit suicide last time. So she's well known, but she still has to go in an interview with those headshots for the other shoot of those 4 girls going on a fountain. Like, is modeling? I mean, I never no shit. I never modeled. Is modeling
Really, Sam? I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm like Chris Elliott.
You can model for me sometime.
I'm like Chris Elliott in that episode of Get a Life where he doesn't realize he's going to be in the before picture. I guess I found the dirty side of modeling. Anyway, yeah, that and like, so she doesn't have $400 a month. Like, doesn't that just seem like maybe one modeling job? I mean, I don't know.
Her friend Jennifer, by contrast, had that gorgeous apartment overlooking Central Park.
And like,
wasn't her name Jennifer?
$350.
Yeah, she was paying like maybe $450 to live in an apartment.
She's like, it's unfurnished, but it has a full length mirror, which was really important to her. I also like that the guy showing them the cheap apartment was really fancy looking, but the guy showing Chris Sarandon the nice apartment was really swarthy and just like gross. I don't know.
I'm still back at the full length mirror.
Yeah, I know. She's that like there's like a good 45-second discussion of that full length mirror. And then at the end she loses her beauty. Like even like her face is like bloated at the end. Like, are we to assume that you instantly age when you become the Sentinel? Do you get a dog named Dickie that sits with you with your white eyes?
That's one of the deals. I mean, one day she was Christina Rains. The next she was this old nun who had no eye. Well, her eyes had turned white. And really, I mean, this has to be addressed. How were they going to the bathroom? John Carradine was locked in that apartment all by himself. Was he going number 1 and number 2 right in that chair, or did somebody come in and help him?
I think someone just came in once a day and hosed him off, and that was it.
The poor guy's blind.
Or maybe like when you achieve the rank of the Sentinel in the Catholic Church, you've reached that like kind of ascetic level where, you know what I mean, where like monks and yogis don't have to eat anymore. You know what I mean? Are they just like so holy that they just exist? Is it like the guardian of the Holy Grail in the last Indiana Jones movie? Oh, I'm sorry, the last one. I'm not counting the one with the crystal skull.
Thank you, Mike Justice, for looking up those figures for us. Yeah, I think even $1,800 is pretty cheap for that kind of place. I watch all those videos of apartments that are for rent in New York.
Just imagine what
has a YouTube channel. Cash, he's like a real estate agent, and he goes into these apartments, and I'm like, wow, that's what they're getting for $3,000.
I mean, it's a really big place too. I mean, it's like floor space wise, it's as big as my house, like square footage.
Gorgeous woodwork and fully furnished with all that beautiful art.
Yeah, it's just, man, I don't know. I love it. I you know what? I'm fine with it. Like because like a lot of times I'm like, oh, the real estate doesn't make sense, but there's demons and a priest. And a cat with the ghost cat. So you know what? Like, what do I need to get past to enjoy the movie?
That comes with the territory living in New York, or so I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
This movie had a really. I already mentioned how gory it is, but it has a very unique, gritty 70s look to it, which
Yeah.
is that's the kind of shit that I love in movies like this.
I also realized that, like, at one point, Bill said all movies have this that we show, but it really feels like we've shown a lot of movies with shrieking women in them over the last, let's say, 3 weeks, like, and more than normal, right? There's always a lot of screaming. There's a
If
lot of
this-
fainting in this too. Like, if you have a faint fetish, this is the movie for you.
Yeah, it isn't. I mean, a woman screams in almost every horror film, but the fainting really was over the top in this.
It was like 1800s fainting. Like, oh my, oh lordy. And a lot of, like, people just coming in and, like, if someone faints, do not open their mouth and pour a glass of water in it. I'm just like, I'm not a doctor. I do write healthcare stuff, but just don't pour a full cup of water in their mouth.
What did they think was happening to her? I mean, we as the audience caught on to what was happening to her, but what did her friends think? Like, what did Jennifer think? Was her name Jennifer? I'm confused, but I mean, like,
Becca said to me, and
yeah,
she's
Jennifer, Deborah Raffin. What?
I have a question. Becca said, and Mike brought it up, that's what made me get excited about it, is whenever they show the scene of her dad getting caught with the prostitutes, Becca said, why is this in the movie? And I said, well, Michael Winner and foreign, it's always foreign buyers, right? The foreign buyers need a scene of giant fat women eating cake while another girl goes in the other room and tries to kill herself. The other thing, too, is, like, her family, for as bad as her dad is, like, we've set up that her family life is not good, right? Bill, if you went to a family member's funeral and you said, I'm not going to go to the rest of the funeral, I'm just going to sit right here, could you imagine the fucking guilt trip that you would get? Like, I'm getting guilt trip just thinking about it. I'm probably going to hear about it tomorrow when I visit my family. Do you know what I mean? Like, that I even thought about it. And, like, no, that's fine. You just take your Anison and you sit here and you enjoy the room that you're in.
Guilt is at the core of every religion, and it's at the core of this film too, because that was the whole deal with her. Is she felt really guilty because of her suicide attempt, I guess, and see, even she realized it was excessive to commit suicide over the fact that your dad was just, having a good time with the townie whores. And,
every time she's confronted by a venal sin, she tries to kill herself. This is the other Catholic message, right? Like, when she's confronted by her dad doing that, it happens. And then when she's confronted by the adultery with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend probably killed his wife, right? I mean, Eli Wallach's in this for seconds. Why? I don't know. Like, they had a lot of money. And, like, he's like, yeah, and they set up that whole thing. Yeah, but not as, like, he's Eli Wallach. Like, he's a name. Maybe in my world, right? From spaghetti westerns. But you know what I mean? You'd think he'd be in it longer. But that's the thing. It's like, every time she's confronted by one of these sins, she either passes out, gets a headache, or kills herself and keeps coming back. And, I don't know. Why her? Why does Satan? Why is she the most important person in the universe? Why does the world of the Sentinel revolve around her?
Yeah, I mean, why is it so hard to find somebody who will be the Sentinel? Because I can think of at least 5 people right off the top of my head that I know in real life that would kill for the job of the Sentinel.
But the way God works, Bill, is he doesn't want the people that are going to do it. He wants people like Zacchaeus and like the tax collectors and like Simon having a road to Damascus moment. He wants the assholes that have fucked up their whole life.
He wouldn't make the woman at the well become a Sentinel, would he?
No. He would be like, you know what? Like, people are like, I have worked my whole life to be. It's the prodigal son. I've worked my whole life to be the Sentinel. Well, let's take the girl that slept with a married man and tried to kill herself twice. She could be the Sentinel.
It was important. It was important that the Sentinel be beautiful, so that she was losing everything that she was worth in this life. And I think that's this movie's message.
Yeah, that's the message. Is like, if you want to be a true, this is
good really not a positive thing.
Yeah, good thing it's Sunday that I can say this. If you truly, this movie says, if you want to be a true servant of God, you must give up everything that is important to you and any worth you have, so that you can stand there and piss and shit on yourself and guard the gate of hell for eternity. 5 stars. Have seen it 20 times.
There have to be at least 500 nuns who would want to do that, but yet they have.
There's a whole brotherhood of dudes just fucking ready, wearing giant fucking rings, like all meeting inside that room where they decide who the Pope is.
I don't think inebriation is ever a problem, Nora. I think this could work out for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you turn into the Sentinel, but if you choose that, I'm not going to stop you.
How upset do you think Dick Smith was when he was like, I am, at the time, Pre-Savini, the effects guy, right? And they're like, you know what? The best effects in this movie, we don't need you. We're going to get a bunch of guys with facial deformities. And he'd be like, there's no union for special effects guys? He had to be incensed.
Dustin, so cynical.
Come on.
Carradine, I hear he didn't need any makeup for this film.
No, none at all.
He didn't look that bad at this stage in his life. They definitely dressed him up.
And I forgot, Christina Rains is in a movie with his son, Hex, which is a kind of like, have you seen that, Bill?
He didn't look so bad in the Boogeyman when he was the psychiatrist.
Yeah,
he was all cleaned up, and he didn't look like the guy in the Sentinel at all. In fact, but he didn't wear any lipstick in that movie. He definitely was wearing lipstick in this film, which was one of the most disturbing things. I was like, John Carradine has a gorgeous shade of purple that he's wearing.
His look predates the horror movie Drag Race outfits. Do you know what I mean? Like on the Dragula Brothers or whatever. Like he kind of like
Uncle Spooky.
Yeah, hosted by Uncle Spooky. He really is John Carradine, a progenitor of the Drag Race style. Discuss. Anyway, I don't think.
I'm glad so many people in the chat seem to have enjoyed the Sentinel, and I believe this was the first time Nora saw it, and a couple others. So this is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm glad Nora's not disappointed. It wasn't a child moment.
No.
The child.
No.
Which I didn't watch yet this year, and Halloween has come and gone, and I did not watch The Child.
I got to tell you, I have had, this week was very depressing. I had numerous, like, Halloween's over feelings this week. Not to bring you down, but it sucks, you know?
Yeah, I get really bummed out. I don't care when Christmas is over, but when Halloween's over, it's a bummer because October just flies right by.
Yeah, it really does.
Next year, I'm going to have Haunt all ready so that I don't have to work on it during October. That's what I did with my October and this show. And that's why the issue of Drive-In Asylum didn't come out, although I am working on it. It should come out this month. Issue number 23, featuring Pat Carty. A bunch of wonderful reviews by my great team of contributors, and also including a new guest spot. Rigor from the Then Is Now podcast did a great article about the Dr. Phibes movies. By the way, Rigor is going to be on the show next weekend. We should probably mention that.
Yeah, what movies are next week, Bill?
Yeah, you saw the previews on the comeback video, but next week's movies are actually going to be two that were not previewed tonight. The first one we're going to do next weekend is Raw Meat by Gary Sherman, a.k.a. Deathline. And the other one is one that I cannot believe we have not watched yet. Sam, I was so glad you suggested this, and it is...
Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman.
Yes.
It's funny. I gave Bill a list, and he goes, "Why did you even give any of those other movies? Like you knew which one was going to get picked. Why would you even suggest those other movies?" So I'm excited for that, and I'll be a little late because I'm wrestling next week, but I will be here.
Well, you'll be there in time for the second segment, right?
I will be. Yeah, maybe I won't even take my makeup off. I'll just keep it on and just come in with full corpse paint for the.
Duh! Of course you will.
Exactly. Full corpse.
Better not take it off.
Yeah. So it's going to be a really fun week. I'm really excited to watch those, and I am excited of the other movies that we showed as well. Trailers for. There's a lot of excitement coming up on the show.
I have become obsessed with The Black Room. First of all, there was no trailer for it online anywhere really, so I had to make my own trailer for which I love doing, and it made me just sit down and watch the movie again. And it really is the spiritual sequel to Don't Go Near the Park. In fact, it may take place in the same universe. Those may be the same characters. Sam suggested they're the same characters, the brother and sister. So we have to work on making this happen for real. But I can't wait to talk about the Black Room.
It's the Drive-In Asylum cinematic universe.
Gigi's going to be on that show too.
Yeah,
so I know she has lots to say about that movie. She recommended it to me, and so did you. And I think it was independent of each other. So you both know me so well. You knew I was going to love it.
And I have a lot to say about Enter the Devil, aka the Erie Midnight Horror Show. That trailer that you put together really shows, like, yeah, it's an Exorcist ripoff, but it's really wild. It's awesome. But you know what? I think Bill and I have discussed it many times. There's not an Exorcist ripoff that I dislike, right? Like up until the modern blah, blah, blah. But like Return of the Exorcist, the Antichrist, Beyond the Door, all these are
Magdalena.
all. Yeah, oh my God, yeah. I mean, what a movie. Abby.
Abby.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you know what? Matthew's right. Linnea Quigley is in both The Black Room and Don't Go in the Park. So maybe that she is the key, Bill.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for pointing that out. And also, I think the titles, the lettering that they use to make the titles in the films are identical. I have to go back and watch Don't Go Near the Park again, but I think they're very similar, if not the same font. I don't think there are any other connections with it, though, other than Linnea Quigley. So,
you know what's funny is there's the Abbey in Lawrenceville. One of the guys that used to do coffee there, he had the Blu-ray of Don't Go Into the Park, and it was just sitting there. Someone had given it to him to borrow. He was waiting for him to come back, and I said, I got you get excited when somebody else has seen a movie that you like. And I'm like, oh man, did you watch it? He goes, yeah, it really sucked. And I was like, oh, we can't be friends. I can't talk to you anymore.
click, dial tone, goodbye.
Yeah, next.
There's no Blu-ray for Don't Go Near the Park.
It was a DVD, I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got me excited there for a minute.
There is a DVD coming out that I'm very excited about, Bill.
A Blu-ray, you mean?
Blu-ray, yeah. Night of the Demon is definitely coming out. I mean, that's the third movie Severin showed, and they're putting out a book version of it too, which I'm super excited about. So, yeah. So that's pretty.
Ed brought up. I think you mean Demon Witch Child, the Armando de Osorio Exorcist ripoff.
I like that too. Yeah.
Or maybe the Night Child.
The Night Child, yeah.
It could be either one of those. But yeah, I like both of those too.
Yeah. I have a whole list on the site of Exorcist ripoffs that I like as much as The Exorcist. And there's
Kathy's Curse.
Kathy's Curse. Another
Is
great.
Is that an Exorcist ripoff or a Carrie ripoff?
I think it's it's whatever you want it to be. And what I love about that movie, and I've said it, I've probably talked about that a billion times on our show. But
I just got dive bombed by a gnat.
Oh,
how are there gnats when the weather turns cold like this? I wonder if anyone else has been infested with gnats. They seem to be
we have been since the pumpkins went bad outside.
Well, even at work, everywhere I go, there's gnats. It must be me.
But the thing that I love about Kathy's Curse is she doesn't. Yeah, she becomes possessed, but she also becomes impolite, which I think in Canada is the greatest sin of all. You know what I mean? Like she really becomes a very impolite girl. And
Canada is a beautiful place, and they don't do things like that. So when little girls act, they say mean things to their elders.
And when they make old drunks start drinking again and make rats climb all over, man, I really could watch Kathy's Curse. I'm probably going to watch it tonight again.
That's the same as anything Reagan does in The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And she behaves pretty badly.
I mean, she doesn't pee on the floor, which is, I think, that's the fucking limit, right?
Oh, yeah. Just don't even go there.
Like, I like that it happens at the party and nobody screams and runs from the party. If I was at a party and a kid I didn't know came out of her bedroom and pissed on the floor, I certainly would react with much more terror than
You would?
Yeah, I'd be like, what the fuck is this kid doing?
I just think, oh, there's something wrong with her.
I don't know.
Well, I've seen The Exorcist also, so you know.
Oh, here's my possession movies that I like. If you'd like to know my list.
Yes, please tell us.
Kathy's Curse was number 1. And Bill, you get mentioned in this article. I said Bill mentioned the other day that he wished the only bad thing about Kathy's Curse is it's not based on a true story. So I said, let's start telling people it is. Amityville 2, The Possession. I mean, that's, Enter the Devil, which we talked about. Evil Speak, which we've shown. The Car, which is kind of Jaws, but whatever. Magdalena, Abby. I put The Witch, because I like The Witch a lot. Beyond the Door, and Alucarda, which we just showed. And then my extra ones I dig are The Incubus, which, it's got a demon in it with a giant weenus. The Return of the Exorcist, The Sect, I Don't Want to Be Born, a.k.a. a million other titles.
Oh, poor Joan Collins.
I'm just giving you your opening there. Mirror, Mirror, Manhattan Baby, Demonoid, and Paul Nashi's Exorcism. Those are my other exorcism kind of movies I dig. So, thank you. Also,
that's amazing.
Also, Joan Collins gets knocked up by a midget named Hercules in that movie, which I really like.
Hercules.
I love that movie. There also a nun gets really treated badly in that movie. She gets like knocked around a lot by a baby.
Is that like behaving badly when you're Kathy's Curse?
Kathy is the most ill-behaved girl. She says, my favorite line in the whole movie is she says to the girl, she goes, they say you're a medium, but I say you're a well-done piece of shit.
I say you're an extra large.
But all great movies. And all of I think you can see 70 to 78, 72 to 78 prime, I like that they made pins for The Exorcist, Pray for Reagan pins.
Light a candle for her.
Light a candle for her.
The Sentinel had a lot of great Catholic guilt moments, and really, obviously, they were going for The Exorcist, I guess. But
man, Mike Justice asked
I have to say, Sentinel is.
Mike Justice asked a question that I can't answer, Bill. Kathy,
what's that?
Kathy, which is the girl from The Visitor. I don't have an answer.
We definitely forgot about The Visitor.
Yeah. Also, The Visitor has Space Jesus Franco Nero, which, why does he have people that come from space and dance around on rooftops? There's not a day that The Visitor doesn't come up in my brain and I say, what? Even, why is Sam Peckinpah in it? I can give you a list of questions, the homework to go home with, and be like, why is what Shelley Winter's character? That's my short question. Did she have a visitor child? Did she kill it? Why is she here? Did she used to love Sam Peckinpah? How did they get her? Why is Ted Turner the bad guy? Ostensibly, a Ted Turner analog that owns an Atlanta basketball team and a TV station. It's Ted Turner is the bad guy of this. Why would someone gamble their soul to have their basketball team win the world championship? Why would you keep a kid around that acts that badly? Why so many bird attacks? How does it end? What does the ending mean? Man, what a great movie. 5 stars.
Well, one thing I was going to say this about The Sentinel. One thing, it has a lot of great occult overtones, and the graphic violence is shocking and everything, but it really doesn't have a compelling story at its heart. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the way The Exorcist did, it's a little bit more empty, if you will, than The Exorcist. Even because there was a lot of stuff in The Exorcist. That's why it's so great. There's a lot of compelling stuff in it. The relationship with Jason Miller and his mother, mm-hmm. and then Ellen Burstyn and Reagan and that whole relationship in there. There was good stuff there. A mother who has to fight for the life of her child, and a father
who has felt absent too from her daughter's life, and how can she?
Yeah. a son who has to do right by his mother, and he didn't, and he feels very guilty about it. So,
Even
but
the relationship
Sentinel,
between the detective and the older priest at the end, how they talk, like there's like a kinship between them. There's some really neat moments in that.
but every movie can't be The Exorcist, and some movies just want to have a good time. The Sentinel wants to have a good time.
I agree with what Mike said. It's like, I think Italian people saw The Sentinel. I think Argento saw it and said, what if I took a building in New York and made a movie that made even less sense? Like virtually no sense. And I got hepatitis and laid on my back for the entire filming of it. And what if I made that movie?
You're saying the hepatitis was part of his plan too?
It was. He said, I'm going to inject myself with dirty needles. I don't think that's how we got it. But no, the hepatitis wasn't part of his plan. But I think you can see overtones of this in other movies, or maybe just the occult world of the 70s just infuses everything. It's crazy that if you think about it, within 3 or 4 years of this movie coming out, we were in the Satanic Panic. Do you know what I mean?
We have to talk about Arthur Kennedy because we haven't mentioned him yet. Or did we?
We said it right in the beginning of this. We're like, oh man, we forgot that he's in this. And he's in Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. Yeah, it's one of my favorite lines in any movie that I repeat the bill quite often. Yeah.
And also, who was the other one that we forgot? Well, we talked about Eli Wallach.
Jose Ferrer.
Martin Balsam. That's
Martin
the one
Balsam,
that we didn't mention.
And Richard Dreyfuss right in the beginning.
Arbogast.
This movie really is packed with people. It's like wow, it's like they're not all in it for a long time, but it's packed with them. Jeff Goldblum dubbed throughout the entire movie, not his voice.
How humiliating.
Pittsburgh's own.
Well, he was in Death Wish also.
He sure was.
He had a thing with Michael Winner.
He did.
I wonder what Jeff Goldblum would say about Michael Winner. Do you think he liked working with him?
I don't think anybody liked working with Michael Winner. I don't think Charles Bronson liked working with him. But he just kept coming back and like, oh, okay, I guess Winner again.
I don't know who William Hickey was. I looked up his credits, his screen credits, and nothing jumped out at me.
Let me do the same. William Hickey. Oh, he's in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He plays the grandpa in it.
Oh, see, that's why I didn't know who he was.
That movie, trust me, gets played every Christmas in our house, so I definitely know it. He's also in Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. He's the guy that wants to kill the cat, and the cat comes out of David Johansen's mouth, which is a really awesome effect. Hot.
Yeah. I dig that movie.
Yeah.
The mummy was messed up.
Yeah. I saw the end of that as a kid on HBO, the Ray Don Chong part, and it really upset me as a kid. Like, it was really intense. I don't know why it upset me so much, but yeah.
That was one of those that I couldn't believe that was supposed to be the twist, because it was obvious from the beginning, at least to me, that she was the gargoyle, and I was like, oh well, were we not supposed to know that? I saw that at the Pittsburgh Playhouse.
Oh really?
Yeah, big screen. Tales from the Dark Side.
I will see most of the episodes of the show. I have the box set and I love the show, but a lot of the episodes of the show are very, oh okay, they're not really a twist as much as they're just an ending.
It was a TV thing,
Yeah.
They were
I like Monsters too. I mean, it was a good like post Saturday Night Live show, or like those shows that were on late Sunday night when you were a kid, and you're like, oh, I really should be in bed because I have school tomorrow, and this is on at 1:30 in the morning on Channel 4.
Was it Tales from the Dark Side? Was that the show where one of the episodes was about a babysitter and there was a killer vacuum cleaner?
I'm not sure.
It was like a canister vacuum cleaner, and it would go over people's faces and kill them.
Oh wow!
And it made this noise like. It was an invention that somebody had made to silence things that made a lot of noise, and it silenced them by killing them.
It is Tales from the Dark Side. It's an episode called Hush.
Yeah, there we go.
And
that was a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, John Harrison wrote it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and who also directed Tales from the Dark Side. So there you go. I have been watching Friday the 13th, the series, and I know that Patrick Walsh would be very happy to hear that. But I've been that and the Ghost Story, this 1972 William Castle produced series. We've been making our way through those. So a lot of TV anthology horrors lately in this house.
I should also mention that one of the things that was different about the TV version of the Sentinel, that not only did they change the beginning to make it so that it was more about this, distancing itself from the Catholic Church. How they thought they could get away with that, I'll never know. But another thing they changed was the ending of the film slightly.
Huh.
They showed there was a brief scene where they bring John Carradine's body out of the brownstone. And they're talking about, how he died of a heart attack. It was Christopher Walken was one of the guys. Those two detectives were talking about it, and I don't know. I just think that's really amazing to me that there was a time. Do you think that would still happen? Like, do you think anybody would go back and film more footage just for the TV version of a movie? I can't think of any recent example.
I think it's the kind of thing that happens where we have those as deleted scenes. Do you know what I mean? And
there's so much stuff that's cut out. Yeah.
But it's like now I always feel like sometimes they make deleted scenes just for the releases, or now there's like, the post-credit scenes are the other big thing now, where you get like more of the story. But like the confusing thing about 70s movies are like, there's the TV extended Halloween. There's two different endings depending on what you see of Halloween 2, where, Lance Guest's character doesn't say anything, where she just looks out the window. And it's like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if you think about it, when we grew up, there were arguments over movies like, well, no, that's not how that movie ends. Like, well, you have no way of proving it, right?
You couldn't go back and watch it on YouTube, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then
we just watched a post-credits movie last week, Warlock Moon.
Yeah.
There was something really did happen at the end of the movie that was important, but after the credits.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's funny to me. It's like now we all have like what is the best version of this film and the most complete, and almost every movie, like we have the complete ones, but back then sometimes you could watch a movie on like WOR and then watch it on Chili Billy and you might see a completely different cut, depending on how much the station chopped out of the movie, because they had their own versions of some movies and they would just chop them up however they wanted.
Gangs of the Living Dead, which we just watched on the show not too long ago, that had a different ending when it was on TV. A couple different endings, I think.
Yeah.
But we already talked about that on that show. And of course, well, I already mentioned Halloween. There was additional footage that they inserted into that. I know one thing that they used to do was they used to shoot alternate scenes, an alternate take of a scene that didn't have violence or nudity in it, with the TV cut of the film specifically in mind. So I can't think of any movies off the top of my head, though, that did that.
But vice versa, there were some movies that shot, TV movies that shot extra footage for European release.
Dave, we got WOR on a cable package here in Pittsburgh, so we saw all that great stuff from New York too. We did not get Chiller. That didn't. WOR didn't show it, and we didn't have any TV station that showed it here. But we also got Ghost Host from Baltimore, although that was more of a syndication thing. Like they marketed Ghost Host to markets in Pittsburgh and Cleveland. I know for sure I saw Ghost Host on Channel 43, WUAB, very briefly. It might have been like maybe only 1 year I saw it on there, but it was on at in a different time slot on WUAB, and I used to watch Ghost Host twice.
Well, it's also because UAB was very much Superhost's channel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never watched Superhost.
Oh my gosh, I watched him every weekend. It was a ritual, you know. I'm trying to look up. There's a an AIP movie that got that there's multiple TV versions of, and I'm trying to remember. I mean, God, that could. Oh, Bloodbath is the one I'm thinking of because there's so many versions of that movie. Because it started as a European
Wait,
movie,
which Bloodbath?
the 1966 one,
Okay,
Jack
yeah,
Hill, because Jack Hill did it, and then Stephanie Rothman, who made Velvet Vampire, came back and did it again. And there's there's a TV cut of it, and there's a Track of the Vampires, the TV cut, and then there's the
yeah.
movie cut, which is Bloodbath, and there's a lot of different versions of it.
I can think of a bunch of movies that had a lot of additional footage inserted for the TV, like The Godfather.
Mm-hmm. They
There was
would
a lot.
advertise that too, like extended. Superman did too.
Superman, yeah, that had almost a whole hour of additional footage. And King Kong
Mm-hmm.
had a bunch of footage reinserted. The Swarm.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about movies that didn't deserve it. The
It was a
Swarm.
big deal when those would air, though, that they would like say now featuring things you didn't see in the theater. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh man,
The airport movies. I think like Airport 77 had
yeah,
stuff. So, but I don't think I think those were just outtakes. They weren't specifically filmed to be shown on TV.
yeah. But you know, they definitely the Halloween stuff was though. I mean, he went back
Yeah.
and started during two because they cut so much that they needed to fill the time that was taken up by it.
Which seems strange to me because I'm not even sure that they could have cut that much footage out of it. Those three scenes took up a lot of time. And I
Yeah,
think they just cut like a couple seconds out of the violence, but maybe the movie was too short in general to fill a 2-hour time slot. So they needed maybe like
that's what
another
I'm
10
thinking.
minutes.
Yeah, they needed to fill out the CBS late movie slot of 5 hours. So how much footage can you put into a movie? But I mean, it's funny. Like either I saw movies on. You were talking about like how did you first see movies earlier in the show, and I either saw movies on TV. We didn't have HBO for the longest time, so the other way that I saw them was I think I've talked about before is through Mad Magazine. You know, I would see the Mad Magazine versions of the movie, and I would get an idea of what the movie was about. And then years later, like I just saw Excalibur for the first time a couple years ago. And I'm like, oh, I remember reading about this in Mad. The movie's a lot better than the Mad Magazine script makes it out to be. Altered States is another one that I first read in Mad Magazine before I saw the Ken Russell movie.
Mad Magazine. I think I read Cracked more than I read Mad.
Oh man,
I was into Cracked. They did the same thing. I saw
Yeah.
their spoof of The Exorcist. It was the ECCH Exorcist, like Exorcist, and also the 79 version of Dracula. That was a Cracked magazine.
That movie
special.
was very upsetting to me because that's the first time my mom ever said a man other than my dad was attractive. She was real into Frank Langella, like ridiculously, and like every time she'd see a picture, because there was like a weird argument between my parents because my dad was super into Margot Kidder. My dad was right, and my mom was really into Frank Langella. So yeah, interesting.
How could you not have a crush on Margot Kidder and Superman?
Dude, magical. Yeah, Mad did do Just to Kill too. I think Mort Drucker did the art for it. I remember reading that too, and it was a lot of it was them just making fun of De Palma, like chasing around Hitchcock and asking him questions of what to do in that scene. If I remember correctly, it totally went over my head as a kid. I'm sure if I went back now and read it, I'd be like, oh man, that's pretty great. So, speaking of being late, Bill, not that it's late. I watched One Cut of the Dead, which I hadn't seen, and I know it's been out a while. Have you seen that yet?
No.
Did you
Talk
know
about that.
It's a Japanese movie about a movie crew filming a zombie movie that's going to be airing live on TV, and it's all going to be one nonstop shot, like Magnificent Amberson's kind of shot that doesn't stop, and all the difficulties that they run into. And the first thing you see is the movie, and you think you're seeing an actual zombie attack, and then they cut it, and then they show how they made it, and then they go a third time. It's like Cannibal Holocaust, where they keep coming back and showing you how they do it. Yeah, but there's an amazing scene in it. Like I laughed out loud at least like 5 times during it. It's really good. It's on Shudder. I won't tell too much more of it, but like there's a lot of stuff in it, like behind the scenes movie stuff in it, where you realize like how they did things and stuff, and it's real heartwarming in ways too. That a zombie movie probably shouldn't be, or could be, but I really dug it, and I'm sick of zombie movies, and I really liked it. I shouldn't be sick of zombie movies, but I am.
No, you should be sick of zombie movies. There's just too many of those goddamn things now.
Isn't that sad? Did you ever think in your teenage years that you'd be like, I don't want to watch a zombie movie? It
Well,
kind of,
yeah, it's more like I never thought it would be a bad thing. Yeah,
yeah,
I never thought that many people would be making zombie movies, for one thing,
yeah.
because you didn't see them all that often. But yeah, it's just overdone,
Mm-hmm.
done to death.
Yeah, it's way better than Splatter Architects of Fear, trust me. It's not as good as Effects. It's better than Splatter. It's good. I really liked it. It's a fun movie. Hey, you want to see what I got in the mail this week?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
All right. I bought a couple of these too. This is like, yeah. I talked about this movie last week, A Day of Judgment. Severin put this out. Bill, you're going to love this movie, even though it's a Christian slasher movie.
You were talking to me about this. It sounds
man.
interesting.
Yeah, it's real weird. It's very near Brownriggian, I think, and I really dig it. That's a good one. $3. Come on, Al Adamson's Carnival Magic. How can you pass a movie up that is supposedly for kids and is no kid should ever watch? I love that movie. And these just came in. I haven't seen this yet. I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu, and they sent the new Blu-ray of I Spit on Your Grave, which is pretty exciting.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? This movie is really a triumph of advertising. As someone that spent their life in advertising,
Yeah.
like just what the title, the tagline, the copy on it. I mean, when you hear like this woman is just cut, chopped, broken, and burned 5 men beyond recognition, a jury in America would ever convict her, it's like, well, I want to watch that. There's no way you don't want to watch that. Versus like this one's just like, yeah, okay, it's a sequel.
Never mind, it's only 4 men, and I don't think does she burn any of them?
No, she doesn't. Did Jerry Gross care? No. He said, "Fucking call it. I spit on your grave," even though she spits on no one's grave. Day of the Woman.
Jerry Gross was right.
He wasn't. You know what he also said? He said, "Camille Keaton's too skinny. Give me a girl with a great butt." And literally, and he got Demi Moore, and the rest is history. So there you go. We got 88 Films is putting out stuff in America now. The Gestapo's Last Orgy. Oh boy, look at that beautiful case.
Problematic.
Good thing I got the mail before anyone else. And yeah, and that spit has Joe Bob's commentary. You're right. And Chinese Boxer. Look at that cover. Beautiful.
Right on.
Yeah, so I'm really glad 88 Films is putting out stuff. The spines are even nice. Really excited. So that's what came in this week. And I am. The Spit on Your Grave comes with a ton of stuff. Like, yeah, the Joe Bob commentary. It's got 4K scan, visit the locations, audio commentary with the director, interview with him, alternate title with the original title, even radio spots for it. So that's from Ronin Flicks if you guys want to buy that one. And the new one is also on Tubby if you want to watch it. I've actually heard Tubby, yeah. Tubi, to be or not to be, Tubby. It's on there. And you can watch 9 commercials throughout each break.
Yeah, sorry about the commercials. We try and find movies that are shown on YouTube, but sometimes our desire to show a movie overrides our hatred of commercials.
But you know what? I'm working in advertising. I'm like, well, this is the price that I pay. And sometimes commercials are nice to run to the bathroom. Maybe that comes from a childhood of watching UHF channels knowing commercials are coming, right?
Yeah. I mean, you didn't really hate the commercial breaks because, for one thing, they weren't as long as they are now.
No.
Maybe 2 or 3 commercials. I don't know. They didn't seem as long as they are now. God, the ones on Comment are just excruciating.
I love the idea that Comment exists because a lot of times you don't know what's coming up next. you know, and it's just nice that there's a channel that you can watch on your TV like that. But it's too hard to watch movies on it.
I just can't do it. I mean, I record them on the DVR and watch them later, but I can't watch them live.
Yeah.
No.
But I love Comet. I mean, I don't love Stargate, but I love. You love Stargate, the channel.
Isn't it called the Stargate channel?
It is the Stargate channel. Yeah, but someone referred to Pluto as the on one of the podcasts I listened to is your dad can't afford cable, and your mom left him. Come over and watch Pluto, which I thought was a pretty good show.
Justin Tubi wants to show me the pooping Charmin bears, so I don't know why they're marketing that to me. I don't poop.
Tubi is selling
You should know that.
a lot of cars. So I don't know why. I just bought one, and I don't know why they want to sell me another one.
Hey, you know what's coming up? The holidays.
They are.
It's coming up, and our good friend Linda Gillen was talking to me earlier this week. She put this painting up on her website, and I don't know if you recognize what that is.
Aww.
That is the Red Wolf Inn itself. Linda's a very accomplished artist. You can go check out her website, Linda Gillen Art House. And she said that if anyone wants to purchase this painting of the Red Wolf Inn, all decked out for Christmas, just mention that you saw it here on the Drive-In Asylum double feature for 15% off the asking price. And you know, this really is her paintings are very well done. I'm not sure what size this is, but I think it's pretty large.
Yeah.
So go check it out.
Are you going to have to outbid Bill for this painting?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can really afford real art, but you know, I'm not going to say I don't want that painting. So maybe it might not be there by the time you go to buy it.
Man.
It's possible. I don't know.
You just gave me some dread thinking about the holidays.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
they're really close, but hey, you know what? So is Black Friday sales. So, you know, you can get through them if you know you're going to get some new movies, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
There's always something good with all the bad stuff associated with the holidays. There's a reason people like them.
Home for the Holidays in December.
Oh, that's a good idea, yeah.
What's your favorite holiday horror movie, Bill, other than Black Christmas?
Well, Silent Night, Bloody Night, which we've already done on the show. I dig that one. Although, you know, the Christmas trappings in that really are not that pronounced. But they're there. Those scenes of Mary Warnoff wrapping presents really warm my heart. But other than that, it would be Black Christmas.
I like Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toymaker.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. I love that movie because I love that Mickey Rooney shit all over the first one, and he took a paycheck for the fifth one. That is why I love that movie.
It's Mickey Rooney. That's not the most disingenuous thing he's done in his life.
No, exactly. I mean, he isn't when you look up disingenuous. I do like Don't Open Till Christmas as well. But yeah, Black Christmas is really the best one, isn't it?
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
What about Christmas Evil?
I enjoy Christmas Evil. Christmas Evil is less of a horror movie and just sad to me. It's a very sad movie about a sad man who's like the John Waters take on it is kind of what I always think about.
How about the David Hess one? To All a Good Night.
To All a Good Night. Yeah, it's got Harry Reams as a pilot. How can it be wrong? And I like Christmas Sleigh with Goldberg as Santa Claus killing Santa Sleigh, where he kills Chris Kattan. And who doesn't want to see a movie where Goldberg kills Chris Kattan, right?
Oh, I forgot about Whoever Slew Auntie Roo. Thanks, Gigi.
How have we not shown that on the show?
Because there's still stuff we haven't shown on the show.
But that really feels like a week one show about the movies that you and I talk about.
No, you know what our week one was.
What was it?
It was Scream Bloody Murder.
Oh, it was.
The one with the guy with the hook for a hand.
Yeah,
And we also showed Blood and Lace.
we sure did. I think I do like Christmas horror movies. You know, my favorite Christmas movie is the the Rene Cardona Santa Claus. Is
Yeah,
really the best
that's a
one
must watch.
with Patch. I mean, that movie, Pia Zadora and you know, Santa Claus versus the Martians. Also good. If that song gets stuck in my head, I get suicidal. Hooray for Santa Claus. And there's a French one that a Santa Claus movie from the 80s of like a school teacher, and it's a musical, and it's real bad. And Becca makes me watch it every year. And it's like horrifyingly bad because a giant kidnaps children and tries to eat it, and Santa has to rescue them. It's real good. Real bad.
I'm all about it.
Yeah. I also like that there's a Santa Claus Conquers the Martians comic book that Dell put out. What kid wanted that? Find that kid. That kid is into some Q shit now, I'm sure. Into some horrible stuff.
I wish there was a photo novel.
Oh,
A
imagine
Santa Claus Conquers the Martian photo novel.
the Fumetti novel of let's get on that. I want like a label like Vinegar Syndrome to release that and people to get violently upset that they released that movie with a Pia Zadora commentary track. Come on. It's probably
one of the guys who invented the photo novel was in one of my favorite obscurities, Crazed, aka Slipping into Darkness. Laszlo Pappas.
He invented it?
Yeah, it was he and this other guy. I forget the other guy's name. Really, who cares what the other guy's name was? But they were the ones that first sold the idea of the photo novel. Oh no, Sam's camera went black. Talk about a black Christmas. Oh dear. Sam is completely gone now, and I am now solo. Oh, here he comes. Just when I thought I was going to get the show to myself for once.
I'll go. I was slipping into darkness myself.
So where was I? Oh yeah, the photo novel, and then it was your turn.
There's a great documentary about Italian photo novels about criminal and the ones that were kind of taken off of Fontamas that crosses over with a lot of Giallo because a lot of the same actors would do these photo novels. There's a lot of photo novels that came out that Severance put out to go with some of the Giallo too. And thanks, Tracy. That is I Believe in Santa Claus. That is the name of that movie, so I really appreciate it.
Grease is the first photo novel that I ever became aware of. And then later, I didn't know it at the time, but there was one for Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, wow. The 70s one?
78. Yeah, I have it now, but I didn't have it back then. And also Hair.
Oh, man.
the movie Hair. I have that too because I bought them off eBay and they came in a lot. I wouldn't have bought Hair.
Those are the kind of books I would sit on the floor at B. Dalton while my parents were shopping and just dream of having.
Nightwing also. Yeah, I forgot there was a Nightwing photo novel.
I think there was one for the first Star Trek movie too, because I remember seeing that.
National Lampoon's Class Reunion. There was a photo novel. That's amazing, Mike Justice. Is this another one of those sarcastic things you always say, like, I've never seen this movie? He swears that he doesn't say these things with a sarcastic tone. But,
yeah, he said, people have told me that I'm too sarcastic, but I'm really not. And I was like, okay.
So, I can't believe it. It's 2 a.m., but it's really 3 a.m. So,
is it? Or is it 2 a.m. and it... No, it's only 2 a.m. Or is
right, but it's really 3 a.m.
Is it really?
Because, yeah, it was almost 2 a.m. an hour ago, and now it's 2 a.m. again. So it's probably time for us to sign off.
I've lost all perception of time.
Next weekend, we'll have a Drive-In Asylum double feature. We won't just be the late movie. It'll start at 8 p.m. on Saturday, and our special guest will be Rigor from the Then Is Now podcast. Sam probably won't be on the first segment, but he'll be there for the second segment, right?
I will be there for the second segment. I'm defending my tag belt that night, but then I'll be back after I do that. So I have the fourth Severn release if you'd like to know.
Okay, before we go, real quick.
House on the Edge of the Park.
The spirit of David Hess is smiling on this.
I have that movie on beta.
Yes, you do.
I do.
You don't even have a beta machine to watch it on.
Sometimes I just put it to my head, like head on, and just rub it, and I get the feeling of the movie.
So we hope you'll come back next weekend to watch some more fantastic films with us. It'll be Raw Meat, aka Deathline, and Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman, one of my favorite Paul Naschy freakouts. Till then, be safe, be well. We'll see you then. And keep watching great movies. Good night.
Under 16, not admitted without parents or guardians. Under 17, not admitted without parents.